Everyone. So basically, Jason Arday killed himself recently, and I'm not gonna smile or laugh or anything because when it comes to the death of Jason Arday, and people are holding vigils for him because they see him as a martyr. Here's what I have to say about this, by the way. Ever since Jason Arday died, ever since he's been called out for the problems he's been causing, for being called as a liar, honestly, I cannot understand why the university allowed him in the first place, But many people out there are going to say, oh, it's diversity, oh, it's because he's black and stuff. And he's done this and he's done that. But let me just get this straight over here, You're telling me that this professor did like 60 marathons in 60 days. What? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like 60 marathons in 60 days. 60 marathons in 60 days. And you have like another thing where he actually has like work of his that isn't his at all, as it's been plagiarized, Been hearing about that recently, When he's called out for being a liar, that's the kind of thing that needs to be taken seriously, because if you're a teacher, if you're a professor at sociology at university, and you're teaching this kind of stuff, even when you're plagiarizing and you're being called out as a liar, of course people will call you out for it, People will call you out, all right? And they'll call you out for who you are, and they'll do it, Because when you have that kind of stuff happening, so many things that's been going on recently, it's just insane, So it's absolutely insane that he's been called out for being a liar, and he's been called out for plagiarizing. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. And when it comes to like the racism kind of thing over here over and over again, I read from the comments that he actually called police on someone who was investigating him. And even Americans out there, even Benny Johnson, noticed something, by the way. Jason Arday's a liar, okay? Right? He's black, yeah, I know. But when you have someone who's white, there's a vigil for basically Renee Good because she got shot by ICE. There's a vigil, there's like riots and protests going on over there. When Jason Arday died, there's a vigil for him. He's a good teacher and stuff. What about the truth, by the way, What about the truth? Because let me tell you something over here, by the way, Where were you when Charlie Kirk died? You were mocking his death. You were making fun of his death, and you were humiliating his death, by the way. You were mocking his death and stuff like that. And that's really messed up, When it comes to like the death of Jason Arday, there'll be people in the comment section calling out on him because it's mental, by the way, It's mental that I'm seeing this kind of stuff happen, and I'm witnessing lots of crazy things going on, because when you have like a teacher, a professor at university who has been called out for the problems he's been causing, for the lies he's been called out for, how the hell is he a professor at this point, Let me tell you something over here, by the way. Recently, for the past days, I've been interested in algebra. I've been interested in calligraphy. I've been interested in copperplate, Spencerian script. I've been interested in like providing clear, good English itself. You know, I've been learning about like Spencer in school. I've been learning about improving my handwriting. I spent my time improving my handwriting, you know. And I'm glad my handwriting has improved a bit, you know. It improved, but it needs more of a work improvement, you know. And honestly, when you have people like Jason Arday, who is at university, who's been called out for a liar, it doesn't make any sense, like, how these people get to be at university, a well-known university across the world, I believe, you know, and it's just mental, you know. Like, it's just mental. Seriously, I've never been to university all my entire life. I tell you this, by the way. I've been to college. I've been to high school, you know. But university itself, I remember that I went to Luton Bedfordshire University before. I was, like, in this apartment for about a week. It was good that I had my own apartment, like, staying over there for a week, you know. So it was a good experience to, like, developing the sort of independence, you know. That's just good experience, by the way, you know. Honestly. But when it comes to, like, a teacher, a professor that you look up to, that you trust, and he turns his back on you and gives you a hard time. I just want to say this, by the way. I don't want to mock his death, but you people out there who are calling others out on those who told the truth, you people need to grow up and get a life at this point, all right? When Jason Arday has been called out for being a liar, that's the truth. Like, that's the honest truth of it there. When he's called out for being a liar, when he's called out for the problems he's been causing, you know? Especially when there are questionable kinds of points where he did a marathon, many marathons in 60 days. How's that even possible? Like 60 marathons in 60 days. Like that's just impossible, by the way. A marathon's a long run. I couldn't even run for like more than 20 minutes. You know? I can run for like 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. I could run for a kilometer, you know? Honestly, I could run for like 3 minutes, which I'll show you, by the way, you know? Let's do 10 minutes. Let's go for 10 minutes. And for Jason Arday being allowed as a Cambridgeshire professor when he's called out for the problems, when the truth's been called out, when the truth has been told about who he is, I cannot understand how people like him exist, you know? When you have a professor that gives a damn about his education, Jason Arday hasn't, you know? Jason Arday, who decides to be a plagiarist, you know, even when people are calling him out for the truth itself. It's an interesting question. When he's called out for the truth, even when people knew before that he's a plagiarist and he's a liar, these people knew who he was, you know. And it's interesting because when you have people like him who exist, who are defending the lies, how are these people even exist at this point? I don't understand. Like, how do these people even exist? It doesn't make any sense, you know. He's a liar at this point, all right? He's a liar, okay? He shouldn't be allowed in university. He resigned because he's got called out for being a liar, all right? And many British people out there, many English people are fed up because he's a liar, you know. And this race card thing needs to go, you know. It needs to go. This victim pretending nonsense needs to stop. Because at the end of the day, when you're called out for the truth, when you are called out by people out there who's calling you out for the truth, I want to say this, by the way. You're responsible for your own actions, and you're responsible for your own decisions, Jason. All right? And I cannot understand how people like him even exist, you know. And there are other plagiarisms going on, you know. But for Jason, that's a good question, because it's not just me talking about this, by the way, you know. Benny Johnson from America's talking about this. Another guy's talking about this from a YouTube short. But it's crazy, you know. Like these people are at university and are allowing this kind of stuff to happen. You're a professor, for crying out loud. You're at a very serious university, okay? Many of the students who worked really hard to get into university, they basically had no luck getting to university, even when they tried so hard. You know? I tried to get into an apprenticeship, had no luck. You know, I had no luck. As I wanted to go to university, I wanted to have like better education, you know? But instead, I worked at a warehouse, I worked at a Starbucks cafe, cleaning toilets, and these piece of shits out there, these fucking piece of shits who was at university abusing their power and getting away with the problems they're causing and playing the race card. I fucking hate this shit. How are you people even going to university at this point? How? I don't fucking understand this bullshit, man. I work my fucking ass off trying to get somewhere, you know? I try to get somewhere in life. And honestly, when it comes to stuff like this, I'm just tired and fed up. You know, I'm just fed up. I'm just tired of this bullshit that I have to see every single time, you know. And there are these professors out there who are allowing this kind of stuff to happen. Dude, you're a professor. You need to give a shit about your job. You need to do your job properly, you know. Why the fuck are you plagiarizing, man? Why? You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be plagiarizing, and you shouldn't be causing problems for everyone else. You shouldn't. It doesn't make any sense that this guy's a professor at the university, and instead of him doing his job properly as a professor, you know, he basically decides to plagiarize someone's work, make it his own, you know, and he shouldn't be at university. You know, he shouldn't be at university. He shouldn't. Because it doesn't make any sense that this guy is at university teaching students, but isn't using his own education that he learned, you know. I learned about algebra recently. I learned about how to write properly with Spencerian script. I've been learning about Japanese, you know? And I look for a teacher I can trust that I can learn from so I can get my life together. But no, these teachers, these professors at university who is called out as a liar, it's hard to find someone at this point, you know, because of stuff like this. And it makes you question yourself who to trust. Stuff like this, you know. So at the end of the day, how about this? I know about 7 minutes right now, so that's good. Hey, I've done 7 minutes. I haven't done 10 minutes, but I've done 7 minutes, so yeah. But still, at the end of the day, when you're plagiarizing someone's work and you're causing problems, you need to understand that when you're a professor at a university and you're called out for being a liar, that's on you, by the way, not on them. Anyways, gotta go, everyone. My order's here, so I let everyone kind of know what to do, okay? Take it easy.